Welcome back, and in case you're just joining us, our guest in question time is the Ghana High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ambassador Awinador Kanyirige. Join us again. Now let's come to the GIPC Act 865, and which mandates the average Nigerian trader to raise a minimum of $300,000 to set up a small-scale business. Now, how do you see such law with regards to trade relations between Nigeria and Ghana?
Let me say this to answer your question. First of all, if you look at the Joint Commission for Cooperation between Nigeria and Ghana, one of the issues that was looked at and agreed on was to target negative reporting on relations between the two countries. I think that in the issue of this act, the reporting hasn't been too fair as to what the reality actually is. And so because of that, sometimes the situation is actually flogged out of proportion. This is a law which is supposed to be a pro-poor economic policy. And every leadership has a responsibility to its people who put them, who elected them. Regrettably, it was such that it did not sit well with our brethren from West Africa. And when you talk about our brethren from West Africa, within the ECOWAS region, the majority are normally Nigerians. So it's not something which was targeted at Nigerians. It was a national law to protect the poor. But it's, of course, in reality, it happens that our Nigerian brethren are usually the more affected. That's what happens between two sister peoples in that case. However, between the two countries, a lot has been ongoing. In fact, even in my days in ECOWAS, when Dr. Chambers was the head of ECOWAS, he facilitated meetings between the two ministers of trade. And a lot of activity has been ongoing to the point where some innovative ideas have come about to accommodate the concerns of our Nigerian traders within the law. And I think that is what has been going on up until now. But the issue we raised was brought before my president during Mr. President's visit to Ghana. And his answer was simple and straightforward. I mean, that apart from making progress at the bilateral level between two countries in trying to accommodate the concerns of our Nigerian trading brethren, there is also the ECOWAS initiative of a biometric ID card, which gives the right of residence, which will come to sort this out. And it's very far advanced. So both on the bilateral and on the regional, at least, we are moving forward.
Isn't the GIPC Act a violation of the new ECOWAS protocol that confers the right of free movement of persons within the ECOWAS sub-region and also the right to abode?
Yeah, it definitely isn't. It isn't in the sense that there's a simple and straightforward answer to that without going into the details. The matter was actually taken to the ECOWAS Court of Justice by the affected group, the NUTA, I think, Nigerian Union of Traders in Ghana. And the court ruled that Ghana was not in violation of that protocol. So that's the simple and straightforward answer is that it is not. It's not.
Now,
but what is more important is that given the relations between the two countries, I can assure you that a lot has been going on between the leadership of the two countries, between the ministries of trade of the two countries. Moving also to the level of the Nigerian High Commissioner in Accra, engaging with the key stakeholders and coming out with ideas as to how to accommodate it, especially after the judgment of the Court of Justice, that even though Ghana was found not to have infringed the ECOWAS protocol, there was a need to be flexible and be innovative. And one of the examples is what? They were advised that even though that threshold is about, 300,000 US dollars, they were advised that, look, if Benga has a business worth 100,000, he has a business worth 100,000, I have a business worth 100,000. We are three Nigerian traders. Let's come together and register under one name and qualify under threshold and continue to operate. These are some of the flexible things that have been put in place, among other initiatives also.
President Mahama says, with regards to the ejection of Nigerian traders from Ghana, that remains suspended. Does that suggest in any way that the GIPC Act would be repealed?
I don't recall him saying that the law is suspended. It is about traders who are in violation of the law and an operation to shut down their shops, which is that exercise is what has been suspended, but not the law. I don't recall him saying any such thing.
Could you tell us, as an investor, what are the areas of investment prospects in Ghana?
I know for now, a lot of Nigerians go into the real estate sector. I also know that given the comparative advantage that Nigeria has in the oil and gas sector, that's another area that Nigerians would want to go into, because Ghana is now building its own capacities. Also in the investment in the educational sector, establishment of institutions of learning from the secondary to the tertiary level. Tourism promotion, that's a huge potential between the two countries. We haven't exploited that enough. It's a pity that in Africa we tend to look to the north, that is Western Europe, and go on vacations. But meanwhile, within our region, if you take Nigeria, cross rivers all the way up to the north, there are very interesting spots. If you take Ghana also, we have a lot of historical and cultural tourism facilities, among others also. But we need to develop those areas. So these are interesting areas that you can invest in, among many others.
The race for the UN permanent seat in the Security Council seems to be an undercurrent discussion among African leaders. Now, what is the position of Ghana in this regard?
No, our position is very simple when it comes to UN matters. Taking a seat at the UN Security Council or becoming a Secretary General normally we go along with the African position. Yeah. And so what the African position is what we go along with. So it's a very easy and straightforward matter.
How do you see Nigeria's leadership of the UN Security Council?
Oh, very exciting. I had the privilege of being part of the team that supported the candidature of Nigeria to come back onto the council. I had the privilege of working closely with the Nigerian mission under her stewardship, which is the traditional thing we do between Ghana and Nigeria. Within our joint commission for cooperation, the two foreign ministries coordinate policies and strategies very closely. And under the Nigerian presidency, what comes to mind immediately is that for the first time, the UN Security Council adopted a resolution.
Now, let's move to the issue of regional integration in West Africa, and especially the mode of operation in the ECOWAS institution. The Francophone conspiracy seems to be a major issue. So what would be your reaction? How do you see this issue with regards to the progress of the ECOWAS sub-region and the issue of the Francophone conspiracy? They seems to have their way, they seems to have their say. Is this healthy for the ECOWAS as an institution?
This is just a superficial problem that can be overcome. But the bottom line of it is that I think our member states are taking the regional integration as a part-time business in the long run and not as a full-time business. When we take it as a full-time business, these distractions will be overcome with such ease that we will not even be bothered about them. Take the case of Nigeria. Across the border is Niger. Look at the people who straddle northern Nigeria to southern Niger. Are they not the same people? Don't they speak the same language? Should it be another language which was imposed on us for good or for bad? That will be the yardstick of our being. Take Ghana, Burkina Faso. Take, what do you call it, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. Look at the people. A princess from northern Ghana moved further north into present-day Burkina and established the Moshi Kingdom. Princess Yenega. She's the national heroine. The Moses consider Gambaga as their ancestral home. Côte d'Ivoire, the Baule Kingdom, from Ashanti Kingdom, moved there. They still speak the Twi language in Côte d'Ivoire. So this talk about Francophone, Lusophone is an elitist distraction which should come back to what the leaders decided, our ECOWAS leaders, that we should move from an ECOWAS of states to an ECOWAS of peoples. If we do that, if the people take their proper space in the integration agenda, we should not be having these problems. So I would rather appeal also to you, the media, and through you to the private sector, civil society organizations. The space is there. Take it. It is yours. If you leave it to us, the public servants alone, who are supposed to implement the decisions of our leaders, and sometimes tend to rather take ownership over and above our leaders, then who should be blamed for that?
Ambassador Williams Kanyirige, it's been nice having you make our time to be part of this episode of Question Time.
Thank you, my brother. Nice talking to you.
And that's as much as we can take on this episode of Question Time. You may also send us a comment on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week on another exciting episode of the show on Channels Television. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashiru saying goodbye.